What's good in the hood? This is the drop with SA Doc. This is the heartbreak episode. Yes. I'm gonna let this play real quick. Now this is this girl on TikTok redid this song, right? So this is actually a song that's been out for a while. And man, just the way she covered it, it's like, wow. So again, welcome to the show. It's the drop with SA Doc. And today's episode is breakups and heartbreaks. Breakups and heartbreaks. And all right, let me turn this down right here. Y'all can look it up on TikTok. She's out there. Beautiful song though. Beautiful song. And to get into the show, so originally I was going to title this episode the difference between men and women, like during breakups. But I mean, we got Valentine's Day, coming up in a few days, and I didn't want to make it about the differences. All right, I wanted to make it more about the commonalities of the stuff that we go through, as human beings, and men, women, it doesn't matter during breakups, but how we handle things, differently. So again, today's February 11th. It's a Saturday, and I hope that you and yours find yourself doing well. A lot of stuff that's been going on this week, but again, this is we're going to try to keep on subject here, but there's so many things that have been going on, like in the news too. Just crazy things going on around the world. UFOs and spy balloons, the Grammys, Jay-Z and Beyoncé, what else? Ben and Jennifer, right? And you notice that in the Grammys, I really don't know what happened. I didn't see any clips of any fantastic performances. I know that Beyonce got an award, right? I think like the most awards that one artist has ever got, or something like that. And there's some folks were upset about it. I think it was Diplo and Taylor Swift was upset about it. I don't know, right? But it wasn't really anything about music. As far as like the memes and the stuff that was shared on social media, but more so the stuff, the relationship stuff, between Jay-Z and Beyonce. And with them, if you don't know, there's a clip of, I guess Jay-Z went and got a drink, and I guess, he didn't bring one for Beyonce. And it was just mad offensive, right? And it is, given that they've been together forever, it doesn't matter, right? If you take a girl out somewhere and you go and get a drink and you don't bring her a drink back, I mean, come on, man. So that's a big fumble, with Jay-Z. And she still called him a beautiful man. When she went up and got her award, she said, "Thank you to my beautiful man." And then, came all the memes after that about Jay-Z and him being ugly, according to some people. I have no opinion about it, I'm no GQ model, right? I'm no Zoolander. Right. Me and Jay-Z actually share the same birthday, December 4th. So, December, we're I guess supposed to be like real direct, right? And sometimes selfish, I guess. So that was a selfish, saggy move on Jay-Z's part, because if that's your lady, that's Queen Bey, and she likes to drink. It's like, man, he offered her drink, his drink though. Okay, so I guess he tried to make up for it, but it's the thought that counts, right? So I can definitely see how he get a lot of negative feedback from not bringing his lady a drink and then just getting one for himself. Like, that's it's pretty selfish, And then the stuff with Jennifer and Ben Affleck and that awkwardness, right? I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I don't think I'm going to get into that. I think I probably need a whole episode to like really dig in. I did see something on TikTok where it was like a guy that I guess used to date J-Lo before, and I guess he was like a dancer, like a stripper guy or something, I don't know, from Mexico. And he was saying that he was right by J-Lo and Ben, and they were walking by him, and then he was saying how awkward it was because he used to be with her. He was like, that's my ex-girlfriend. And then he said, and it didn't end well. So yeah, I mean, the relationship stuff made the headlines more so than anything art or music related about the Grammys. Okay. Like I said, the uncomfortable stuff with Jennifer and Ben, and just looking awkward, just lets you know that really at any level, whether you're broke, whether you got all the money in the world and all the fame in the world, right, and all the accomplishments that you can have. I mean, look at those two. Ben Affleck is so accomplished. That's Batman. Well, he's not the current Batman. The current Batman is the vampire guy. I always forget. I know Jacob is the other guy, and I forget what his name was. But though he's the vampire dude, and I tried to watch the new Batman, and it was super boring. Mind you, all the Batman movies are kind of boring. So you really got to be into, the whole Batman series and to try to appreciate it. And I've actually seen them all. I've seen all the Batman movies, starting with Michael Keaton back in the 80s, and just all the different Batmans that there's been through the years. Christian Bale was pretty good. I liked him as Batman, But yeah, I'd say he's probably one of my favorite, Batmans. But yeah, this the new one I didn't see. Ben Affleck I think was okay as Batman. He wasn't Batman for too long, so yeah, I don't know how I feel. But Ben Affleck has a lot of accomplishments. I mean, he's made so many movies, and Oscar award winning writer, director, so, and J-Lo as well, right? But in the end, they're just a regular dude and a regular woman, can I say chick? I don't know, dude, chick, girl, but they're just a regular couple, right? Just a guy and a girl at an award show or on date night or out, and you just see the awkwardness, right? Like, Ben really doesn't want to be there, but I think J-Lo's been has she been married 5 times or engaged 5 times? I know she's got all the rings like Thanos, right? But there's got to be something to that. J-Lo is someone who I kind of see as like a serial dater or relationshipper because she just tends to kind of move on very quickly. It seems like she just has a lot of stuff going on, right? She's just super busy. Probably got another movie to do, and you're just, the next guy's just the well, I don't want to say a placeholder, but in a way, it's just, okay, well, you fit, I need someone in that place. I need someone as my man. It's like, okay, you'll do, but yeah, they look so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. And this time around, I think the relationship is a lot different than it was before. Because I think, well, before, when they were together, they seemed like they had a better balance as far as the power dynamics in the relationship. And I think Jennifer even wrote a song about Ben on her, what the album was, On the 6th, I think it was, right? And On the 6th, that's supposed to be like a train that she used to ride in. Is it Brooklyn? She's from the Bronx? She's from the Bronx, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, she'd be riding them trains. So, yeah, no disrespect to J-Lo. But I guess she rode a train. It's called On the 6th. It was the 6th train or whatnot. But on that album, she wrote a song about Ben and just said that he was like the epitome of a man and what a man should be. And, as an artist, right? As an artist, it really seemed like she meant that. I believe it. I thought she was like genuinely in love with Ben Affleck. Like she really put him on a pedestal. But yeah, I mean, this time around, it's like Ben is going through a bunch of stuff, right? He's not necessarily in a very good place. He hasn't really mastered himself, right? He's kind of going through that stuff where he's not drinking and he's just, dry, and it shows. I mean, I don't know, maybe he needs to do some medication. I mean, well, not medication, but meditation and some medication. If not, they're going to have some litigation pretty soon. So, Ben needs to find a way to loosen up. So if he's not drinking, maybe smoke some weed or something. I don't know, But whatever. That's, their relationship, and that's their business. So, but again, I come back to the importance of relationships, and that's the reason why I talk about relationships quite a bit on my podcast. Again, I'm an artist. I make music, but I love social dynamics. I love looking at and paying attention to how we interact and kind of what makes us work and what makes us, not work. I guess that's my analytical self, and that's, I don't know, that's just kind of how I'm wired, I'm wired to, I'm sorry, I was looking for the this thing was timing out here, and I had to stop it from timing out so it wouldn't turn off. But yeah, I love knowing how things work and how, I'm just, I don't know. I like understanding people deeper. I like understanding relationships deeper. It helps me understand myself. I've always been like that. Even in music, it's been about me trying to find new things, discover new things, explore new things, and bring new information to light, and really be at the forefront of information, right? Because how we got here, as far as our society, civilization, right? It's been information, and current information is what helps us to keep advancing as a civilization, as a society, hopefully to make things better for us, to make life better for society, for you, for your family, be more fulfilled, make things easier. That's the whole point. So, let me adjust my microphone here. Hopefully Hopefully it doesn't mess with the sound here. There we go. Okay. Let me find my sweet spot on the microphone. All right. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of information and researching and coming up with new things, right? Like, I don't know, like exploring space, right? Although I think space exploration, even though as a kid, I really believe that the answer for why we're here lies out in the universe, right? Out there in the universe lies our answer, right? No one here has it. No one on this rock has the answer. Something or someone out there has the answer. And I used to look up at the sky quite a bit and believe that. But, all the space exploration really hasn't brought about any any enlightenment. I mean, no, I'm not hating on NASA or anything, but we're not really getting a whole lot of benefit from exploring space. I don't think aliens want to talk to us. Yeah, I don't think they're hiding on purpose. Right, they're like, you know what? You all are not ready to receive the secrets of the universe, right? So yeah, instead of space exploration, just try ayahuasca and DMT, right? And according to some of the folks that have posted things on social media about their ayahuasca and DMT trips, is that it gives you the blueprint of, I guess they refer to the way that we see life and the things that we, how we perceive life and ourselves, that's just a mask or a presentation. Like they refer to it as a play. And, going on these ayahuasca and DMT trips, it shows you the behind the scenes, the inner workings into how the play is put together. So interesting. I don't know. I've never done ayahuasca or DMT. It's not legal in the States, and you can't, I live in Las Vegas, but you can't. I don't know if anyone can you get DMT here? I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want you to get in trouble. And then you just wouldn't know if it's legit, What if it's not DMT? What if it's or ayahuasca and it's something else? Fentanyl or something. So you got to be careful. But I know that there's places in Mexico where you can it's a spiritual event, and there's like a witch doctor or something of the sort that can walk you through your trip, so I guess if I were to do it, that's the way that I would want to do it. I want to do it in a country where it's legal, where I'm not going to get in trouble, and I want someone that is, it's got some experience, right? And it's a ritual. It's ritualistic. So, and even then, I'd be a little freaked out because I don't know, like I'm not big on like bungee jumping or jumping out of a plane. I find it unnecessary, and I'm just the kind of person that I don't like to take unnecessary risks. I'm like, why? I like to know the why behind it, right? So like, why are we bungee jumping again? Well, no, you're going to get this thrill and it's going to feel like you're going to die. Well, why do I want to feel like I'm going to die? Oh, and there's a slight chance I might die doing this. Okay. And that's why I feel that way. That's why you get the feeling that you might die, because you might. So, I might skip on the ayahuasca. I'm not sure. My mind's not made up on it. I don't think I need to do it. I don't know. Maybe you do. If anyone's got, some feedback on that, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, follow me on Instagram to ESE_DOCWEL. Follow me on Instagram, and we can engage. Send me a DM. You can comment on my post, and we can have a discussion about some of these things. Okay. Maybe we can have an ayahuasca show at some point. We can have someone on the show that's done ayahuasca. Maybe I'll go to Mexico and record the whole thing. I don't know. I'm a little freaked to try it. I'll be honest. Just thinking about it, I don't know. You know what I fear? The loss of control. Because I know that for that moment, you'll have a loss of control. You know? So, yeah. So, again, back to the show. So, about, relationships and breakups and heartache. Again, coming, we got February 14th coming up. So we have Valentine's Day. That's coming up. And so in the spirit of Valentine's Day and Saint Valentine's, and, you're getting shot with an arrow, the arrow of love, right? And then the after effect is, heartbreak and heartache. So, a lot of it is because we identify with how we relate to people around us. In relationships, it helps us to see who we are, and we tend to see ourselves through the eyes of those that we are attached to and who we love. As in the way we did with our caretakers in our first stages of life. How did they see us? Did they respect us, neglect us? Did they water us with love? Or did we learn early on that we had to do that for ourselves? And that had an effect on our attachment styles. I'm the oldest sibling, and for some reason, I've always been very independent. I don't know why. I don't want to say I was neglected as a child, but I for as long as I can remember, I've been doing stuff on my own. My mom very early on taught me to do some things by myself. She taught me how to cook for myself, and I think there's some TikToks about teaching my son how to iron and cook because you lazy so-and-sos won't do it. And then vice versa, right? Showing my daughter how to change a tire because you men now don't, or, whatnot. But my mom early on taught me how to cook for myself, how to iron, how to type. It's like she was training me to, I don't know, be a typist. I don't know, work in a news, as a news reporter. I don't know. But now, to this day, I type a lot. So maybe she was grooming me early on to do that. But, I remember her prepping me a lot. And I think that had a lot to do with, with me being independent. But I definitely think that, growing up, I could have had more, maybe loving moments, I guess. And that would help me to be more so like that, because I tend to be more task driven. Right. And we want to have a balance. You don't want to be task driven and just completely ignore that people are human beings with feelings. Like, no, we need to get this task done now. Right. Let's go. So over the years, this is something that's been work for me. And because you got to know, where you need work. Because maybe you're just naturally very compassionate, but you're very disorganized and you can get nothing done, right? So your work lies there, right? But if you're too rigid and you got too many rules and you're really good at getting stuff done, but you notice that your relationships may suffer a little bit, including yourself, because you may neglect yourself because you're so focused on getting certain things done, right? So you have to know where you've got to do the work. Both are important. You got to be an adult and you got to get stuff done, but also you have to be compassionate for the people around you, And those are things that we learn as as children. So unconsciously almost, because it's not really based on language. It's just based on how we feel. Because early on, even before we really grasp language, we just know how we feel, right? And how our caretakers make us feel. There's no words that we can put to it yet because we don't know words. We just know feelings. So it's feeling language, right? And it's deeper. It's unconscious, like I said. It's stuff that you felt before you knew what words to put to it. That's why I think it's so difficult sometimes to identify certain things that pop up that you feel, because those things were learned emotionally, not consciously. Your body learned them via just feeling, right? I was given a feeling, and at that time I didn't know what word to put to that feeling, to identify it. So as a grown-up, you can't identify it. All you know is how you feel, and it's really hard for you to identify it and put a name to it. Because it's said that if you can put a name to something, then it lowers the intensity and the control that thing has over you, because you've identified it. You put a name to it. You give it a name. And it helps you to manage it. You got to identify it first. Right? So, but in relationships, all that stuff comes up. All those unconscious things that we can't name. Right? And that's when you're like, I'm mad. I don't know. Why do you feel that way? I don't know. I just do. Right? So all that stuff comes up with your partner. It's also said that a lot of the voids that we had, or a lot of the things that we craved as children that we never got, we crave that from our partners. And again, some of those cravings came before we knew words. So when we say things like, why can't you just tell me? Well, I don't know how to say it. I don't know exactly what it is that I need. Is this a feeling? Right? So, but it's a big burden to place on someone that you're with, especially if they're like healthier than you. And by healthy, I mean, I don't mean to say they just be extreme, like you're either healthy or you're completely wacko or completely broken or whatever, right? Wacko is a bad word. Wrong word. Broken, right? Completely broken, or you're super healthy. So, all right. So I got some other audio coming in from, all right, there. I had to mute it. All right. So I had some interference here. I had some other audio that popped in. All right. Fun. So, it's a big burden to place on your partner, right? And let's say they're just less broken than you, because there's no such thing as completely broken or completely healthy. And if you think like that, I encourage you to make it a priority to look deeper into that. If you see things in extremes, like all bad or all good, right? I'm not going to get into it. I can do a whole show on narcissism. Because that's actually called splitting in narcissism. When we see people as like all bad or all good, right? I guess it makes it to, it's kind of seeing things like with no compassion and no empathy. It's like a computer, right? Like zeros and ones. It's like, yes, no. I need a definite answer. Yes, no. It's your brain's like a computer, right? So you tend to think in extremes. You're like, I just think like a computer. Is this good? Is this bad? I don't know. But people are so much more complex than good and bad. It's a spectrum. Even in narcissism, there's a spectrum. So just because someone's narcissistic doesn't necessarily mean that they're a narcissist. Narcissism is actually a normal thing in life. It's healthy malignant. That's why it's called malignant narcissism. If you've got, negative narcissistic traits, it's called malignant, because narcissism in itself is not a bad thing. You're supposed to be able to judge and think and control, right? And sometimes you have to make those decisions. No, this is good for me, it's bad for me, or whatnot. But if you always see things in absolutes, you can look it up. Go on Google. Say, I see things in absolutes, and see what it says. So it falls on a spectrum. So no one is completely broken and no one is completely healed. Okay. And if you think like that, again, I'm not going to, say negative things about that, because it's okay. But I encourage you to look deeper into that, really. And this is coming from someone that has seen things that way. And, as you go on this journey of life, you're presented with new information that challenges you. And sometimes things challenge you and they hit you in the ego. And, and those are opportunities to grow and learn, oftentimes. So again, no one is, bad or good. We're all just in the middle. Obviously, some of us do really, really terrible things, and then we have to kind of label them that. But we're talking about, folks that do really, really bad things to people. But, besides that, we're all a little broken. And it's a big burden to place on a partner to, try to work out unresolved issues that you had in childhood. And you want to say, hey, go to therapy. Well, hey, you know what? Therapy's not easy. Because sometimes, you have a good therapist and sometimes you have bad therapists, or a therapist that may not fit your style. But if you have a good therapist, then, they can definitely help you to, try to get to the root cause, do a whole family, beginning history and go from there. So I definitely encourage you to do that. We all need it. For sure, because we need to take some of that burden off of our partners, because they're not responsible for what happened to us. Of course, yeah, we want to be supportive, and if you have a partner that supports you, that should be reciprocal. Both of you should support each other. Definitely shouldn't be just one partner who identifies as the broken partner, and then one partner that is the rock that's supposed to be the backbone for this other person. No, it's like, that you should help them to be their own rock in a sense, and have their own backbone and be able to rely on themselves, right? But it's definitely something that we all have to take accountability and ownership for the things that we need to work on. So again, so sometimes because of all these relational things, for whatever it is, right? Because I'm sure we all don't go into relationships thinking that they're going to end, but they do. And sometimes, they don't end forever, and sometimes they do. So, but, and to that, I want to say that, and this is just a disclosure here, if, there's a violence going on in your relationship, and it doesn't matter the partner, that should definitely not be something that you should continue. When things get to a point where there's violence and just a lot of anger and screaming and just craziness going on, I do encourage you to maybe get out of that situation, because for your own safety, for the safety of those around you. Those are things that should really be deal breakers if you're experiencing violence, right? So I encourage you to get help to either get that violence to stop immediately, or remove yourself from that situation. Okay, so with that being said, I'm all for really doing all you can to make a relationship work. Besides the things I just mentioned, because I feel if you pick someone, you pick them for a reason, and you know, if there's love there, if you have kids together, you know, it really is worth doing everything you can to try to make it work with that person, right? And again, if not, then, you know, so be it, right? But you really want to try to do the best you can. Obviously, you pick them for a reason, and then sometimes I think that, you know, you tend to forget why you picked someone in the first place. If you happen to go to therapy together, they might ask that, like, hey, you know, what initially attracted you to this person? What initially did you like about them? Because, you know, you kind of need to get back to that sometimes. You know, you lose yourself in the relationship sometimes, and you become someone that you weren't in the beginning, and then obviously you know, that other person's going to lose interest and attraction because you're not the same person you were when they met you. So, but as far as, you know, heartbreaks, breakups, it's painful. You know, men, women, it doesn't matter. You know, it's really painful to go through. And I had wrote that, you know, it was somewhat like death, like experiencing a death. That's kind of what it feels like, you know, when you break up. And it's like, it could even be worse. You know, you can have a death in the family, but then you go through a really bad breakup, and that just feels worse, or worse, right? And you can't deal with it, and you can't move on, and you're stuck, and you ruminate, and all these things, and you just cannot get past it. So breakups can be some of the most impactful things that you go through in your life. Because, yeah, I mean, you know, that relationship died, yourself in that relationship died, your future that you envision, all these things are, you know, it's like a death, you know. So I want to go back and say, hey, well, if you do, you know, care, you know, about this person, and you don't want to end it, you definitely should do all you can to, you know, let this person know how much they mean to you, and you definitely shouldn't let your pride get in the way. So do that before you go and find someone else. So, but, you know, maybe you've done that and they still don't want you. So now what? How do you get over it? The rejection. Rejection. Rejection sucks. Right? When you want someone and they don't want you, it's unbearable, you know? But, I mean, in some cases, you know, it's really not warranted that you feel that way. You know, because people don't owe you stuff. You know, but when we're with someone for a while, we think they owe us something. Like, no, you owe me. I invested so much. Bought you a car. You know, paid your bills for a year. I invested so much. You know, I gave up these other opportunities for you. You know, I could have ran off with Todd from work. If you're a woman, you know, he really liked me, but I stuck it out with you because I was hoping things would go different. You know, or a guy, you know, just our financial investment. You know, that we put up a lot of money. I took you to that one place. That restaurant, the bill's $500. You're just going to break up with me a week later. I'm broke now. I had to get a loan to pay for the bill. Right? So how do how do you handle that? How do you move on from it? Because definitely sitting around and being miserable and sad, and although it's okay for a couple days, you know, maybe a week, but, you know, if it's something where it's like weekly and monthly, and just it's ongoing nonstop, and you're just stuck in this bad loop, right? Maybe you've got bad habits. I don't know. You know, for me, it's cigarettes, and it's usually I only smoke when I'm like really stressed out, and I really try not to. You know, I really don't smoke weed anymore. It's not a big thing for me. But cigarettes is a really nasty vice, right? That, I really try to stay away from. And when I smoke, I might smoke like, maybe a little half a cigarette or whatnot. During normal stress periods, right? During peak stress periods, it may be a pack, I don't know, a day, right? But I really try not to do that at all. And again, that usually doesn't happen for too long. But like I say, you don't want to get stuck in that loop. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is you need to do something besides things like that, like smoking and all this. You really need to do something with your life. You need to get up, you need to take a shower, you need to iron your clothes, you need to call up your friends, you need to go out, right? And this is especially if you're rejected by the other person and they don't want to be with you, right? You have no choice. You have to move on with your life, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. Because if that other person wants nothing to do with you, obviously they don't need you. They're not lacking anything that you have. Right? They're not checking in on you to see if you're okay. Weeks pass. They don't care if you're having sex. So do it. At some point, if somebody doesn't want to be with you and you've tried or whatnot, it's okay for you to just move on. Go out, date, see people. There's nothing wrong with it at all. As long as you let people know, hey, I'm not looking for anything serious at the moment. Do what you want, right? So if someone's going to, reject you, then that's what it is. So, go find your love. Now, I had some stuff written down about this. And I was going to talk about exactly that, like, going on and hooking up with other people. And I had this whole piece, paragraphs, essays. Essay Doc wrote some essays about, promiscuity and, if guys that are really struggling with a breakup and they go out there and, hook up with a bunch of girls, if that would help for them to get over the breakup. And I don't think it does for guys. I really don't think it does help. There's a breakup movie with Russell Brand. What's the name of that movie? Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So in that movie, Sarah Marshall breaks up with the guy, not Russell Brand, but the other. She broke up with him for Russell Brand, who's just an artist and just shallow guy, right? But with mad sex appeal. And this guy was just this boring guy who was a composer for her show. She was an actress, and he just composed the music for the show. And he's just very complacent. Like, he just sit home, he'd never leave, always be in his PJs. And so she fell for the Russell Brand's character, who was exciting and very outgoing, and he wasn't hung up on her, right? So the guy, what's his name? The other guy, Jason Segel, is it? Yeah. So his character goes on like dates, and he's sleeping with different girls, and he's like crying while he's hooking up with them, and the girls are all freaked out. So because for guys, a guy can go and have sex with a girl and still totally love his ex or his current girlfriend or whatever, right? But let's say he broke up with his, ex, and they had nothing. She wanted nothing to do with him. He goes on, he's sleeping with all these girls. The girl, the ex, might think, hey, well, yeah, he's sleeping with all these girls, so he must be over me. He must be over me to have sex with somebody else. And that's not the case for men. That is not the case for men. Men can have sex and have no connection with that woman. And women find this disgusting, right? They're like, oh, that's totally disgusting. How could you, pig? You dog. But it's true. And so those are the differences, because it's been said, and I've seen some things on social media where women are like, no, well, why can't we sleep around like men sleep around? Well, that's exactly why. Because men need a zero connection to have sex with somebody. But you do. You do. I mean, obviously there's some women that cannot attach to anyone. Ladies of the night. Or, ladies of leisure. For example. Not to knock them either. We're all humans, right? So, but if they have the gift to be able to sleep with someone who they have no connection to and get no attachment and feel absolutely nothing from the interaction, right? That would be a talent for a lady of the night. Most normal women need a connection with a guy to sleep with him before you let him inside you. So there's differences. So that's why when a woman moves on, and she has sex with someone, right? She knows, okay, if I'm having sex with this other guy, that's a nail in the coffin for my old relationship. Okay? This is my milestone in my moving on here. This is done. It's a wrap. I'm sleeping with this new guy now. Old guy's out the picture. But you have to have a connection with this new guy for you to do that, for it to work. And that's what guys don't understand. That's what guys don't understand. And even in a relationship. So something else that I wrote down here is, so this is something that guys are like completely oblivious about is how can my woman just leave and she's already with someone else, and how could she do this, right? And I'm such a good guy, and I was providing, and I'm such a good dad, and yeah, but when they say she checked out 6 months ago, what that means is that you all lost your connection. And women need a connection with you. It's like water. It's like air. That's why a woman will say, I'm suffocating in this relationship. I can't breathe. Because you all lost your connection. Someone else will come along and be her breath of fresh air. Because he's connecting with him. And that's what's happening in that 6 months, by the way. Because she's not going to go without air. And also, guys, this is why, women don't really feel bad. So if you go and tell a girl, right, and you're talking to a woman, and you're telling her your story, right? Because usually, women go to the story, oh, my man was so bad to me. And you have all these guys that are going to come and be like, yes, girl, he didn't deserve you, girl, right? They're going to come in with that game, right, and support you. But so it actually works to your benefit, right? So when women, ladies, when you go out there and you put your story out there about how your man did you wrong and he paid no attention, that actually helps your mating strategy. But men, don't do that, because it doesn't help yours. It subcommunicates to women that you were oblivious about the connection that you lost with your woman, and you didn't repair it. And maybe you lack emotional intelligence. That's what it's going to communicate. Because they know. They'll know, even if you're oblivious to it, they know that that's exactly what happened. You could be the best guy in the world, according to you, And according to all guys, right? Because guys will stand behind that guy and be like, man, you're so good to her. You know, they had a house, they had the kids. He was so involved, right? But they didn't have a connection. And that's the thing that, you can't really see. And a lot of guys don't understand that. She needs that connection with you. So everything else can be good and great. But if that connection isn't there, then you're depriving her. She's going to wither slowly. But again, ladies, this goes to show that a man doesn't need connection, right? Because he can go a long time without having a connection, because that's not something that's a priority for men. So that's why in breakups, a guy can go out and sleep around or whatnot, and he's not going to get attached. He's not going to get attached to anyone. Likely he's still going to feel the same way until he's completely over his ex, or until he connects with someone new. It has a real connection. Just like she does it. So if you go out and find someone you have a real connection, then you'll forget about her. But until you do, you can sleep with all the women in the world and it's not going to change how you feel. You're still going to feel empty right after. You're going to feel lonely. And, you're getting your sexual needs met, but your emotional needs will not be met until you connect with someone else. So again, this is the differences between men and women when they're moving on or breaking up or whatever, or dealing with their breakup. Because again, a woman knows, any normal, attaching woman that does attach, that does require connection, right? Because you require connection. That's the whole point why you left your ex. And he might have cheated, he might have not, who knows. And a lot of women might stay with that guy, even if he cheats. If they got a good connection, she'll stay with him. Because again, they have a connection. So usually when she leaves, it's got nothing to do with anything else but the fact that they just don't have a connection anymore. And she knows that the moment that she does have sex with someone new, that she has a connection with them and that she really is moving on from you. It means a lot more to her than it does to that guy emotionally. So in a sense, it may help you to move on. Right? And I think you know that. You don't need me to tell you. So, but those are the differences. I hope that at least, helps you to understand a little bit of the differences and the commonalities, because we both have the pain. The pain is there, and we go about dealing with it a little differently. But I think the common theme here is connection, right? So getting that a connection is the thing that's going to help you to move forward. But promiscuity is not a way to deal with heartbreak. Maybe it is with women, because you'll have a connection with a guy, and given that women just have way more options than guys, you all have so many more options, and you were just born that way. Especially if you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. All women are beautiful and gorgeous, by the way. I don't want to, say otherwise, but if all human beings, we're all beautiful, right? But if you got the looks, you got the looks, right? Guy or girl. So, but if you're blessed enough to have really good looks, that it's going to be easier for you. Because you were just born with it. But even then, a good-looking guy and a good-looking girl, the good-looking girl is going to have way more options. Way more. Okay, there's going to be guys lining up with resources, trying to connect with her, playing to her emotions. She has a lot of options. And guys, you don't. You have to be the one to bring the resources. You have to be the one to make the moves, right? To put out the energy. All she has to do is put herself in your presence. But, for guys, it's a lot harder, Like, we're talking about sex. It's like, is sex easy for women? I think TLC has a song, right? I can get any man I want to, time and place that I choose to, but I'd rather be with you, or something like that. But, she's not lying, right? She knows it. She can give it up to any man. Any man will go for it. And that's true. Sex is easy for women. And the man will take it because it's not easy for him. It's like, oh, I got an opportunity here. I don't get these very often. Right? And guys just want to go out there and smash as much as possible without a connection. So, and to him, it's like an achievement because sex is not easy for men. We're not born with that value. Like, women are born with that value. You don't have to do anything. You put on a $5 sundress, and you can get laid tonight. It's a decision. To men, it's like, yeah, you've got to try to align things a certain way. You got to put a lot of work in, right? So it's not the same. It's not the same. So, again, I had wrote a bunch of stuff here, and I think we pretty much covered it all here. And I didn't even look at my notes. So, but either way, Valentine's Day. Whether you are in a relationship, you are not in a relationship, don't let the pressure of the holidays get to you. Because sometimes we allow, these holidays to like stress us out, cause you anxiety. Like if you're single. Right, and you're like, is someone gonna ask me out? They put so much. Again, they put so much pressure on people. Stress. It's horrible. It affects your self-esteem. Like, I don't have, and I think it's more so for women. I don't think guys really care. Because again, we're not used to. No one buys us any shit. No one buys us anything. I've never gotten anything for Valentine's. No one's ever took me out and paid for the date. It's like you have to do it. As a man. So I think if you're single, a single man, this is just something that, either you're going to, shoot your shot with someone that you're interested in taking out. Right, you'll use it as an opportunity, or you'll just sit back and save some money, or you might hit the club. Right, if there's some kind of like Valentine's Day party, single ladies party, you might just go to the club and look for the ladies in the red dress, the ladies in the red dresses, right? So. Big shout out. Regardless, if you're single, if you're with someone, big shout out to you. And don't let Valentine's Day get you down. Either way. So, and again, no matter what you're going through, make sure you're okay. Take care of yourself. Make sure you go to work on time. Make sure you shower and brush your teeth. and do the best you can to try to stay healthy. You know, a person will either be with you or not. A person will either be your other half or just make you be half of yourself. And I always say it, in relationships, it's not 50-50. It's 100-100. You got to be all in or all out. And if you're not, then don't complain when it doesn't work. Don't have one foot in and one foot out. You know. But, you know, again, life is short and people may come and go, but you will always be you. No matter who you're with or where you're at. Where you're at. There you are. So, with that being said, sending out much love and positive vibes to anyone and everyone out there. Follow me on Instagram, SA_Dockwell, ESE_Dockwell, SA_Doc on TikTok, ESEDOC, and email me, contact@sadoc.com, contact@sadoc.com. So email me questions for the show. If there's stuff you want me to cover on the show, if you have a story and you want your story to be heard, DM me or send me an email. Okay, and you know, maybe I'll cover your story on the show and help you get some answers and insight. You know, my pronunciation is really off today. The thing is that I've been sick. So, you know, I went a long time without getting sick, and it just caught up to me. So, yeah, I've had this throat thing and, you know, feeling a little bit under the weather, but I've been getting better over the last couple of days. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice because it's a little raspy, and I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I wish I can sing because you know, I can sound like a raspy R&B singer, right? So I wish I could sing. When I was a little kid, there was a few things that I wanted to be when I grew up, and one of them was I wanted to be a singer. Right, I used to love singing, but I just never developed it as a kid, and I never really thought I could, so I just rapped. You know, I wanted to be an actor, you know, act in movies, you know, like action movies, you know, where I was like a cop, I was shooting bad guys, or boxing. I wanted to fight. You know, so those are the three things that I wanted to do as a kid. But yeah, definitely I got the you know, raspy voice going on right now as I get over this winter sickness that's going around. So I hope everyone, hope you all find yourself safe, and if you happen to be sick, I hope you feel better. Okay. But again, go ahead and follow me on all social media. Look me up on YouTube. Look up SA_Doc. If you go to my Instagram, you can actually find links to my YouTube. So you can go ahead and follow, like, and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter. So let me share my Twitter because I haven't spent enough time on Twitter as I usually spend, but I love Twitter, and I encourage all of you, if you are not big on Twitter, there's a lot of good things on Twitter. It's been kind of a shit show since Elon Musk took over. I'm not going to lie, but, you know, I think it's slowly balancing out, and there's a lot of good information. But again, when Elon Musk took over Twitter, it seemed that people were just clowning and just like really just making the platform a total shit show. And I think it's gotten a little better. So, but yeah, I encourage you to follow me on Twitter. My handle is SADoc1. It's capital E, S-E, capital D, O-C, the number 1. So it's SADoc1. Go and follow me on Twitter. All right, so I can post some additional content on there. I do post a lot of, I do a lot of rants on Twitter. I think Twitter's the platform for you to like really, express your views and type little mini essays that are impactful, right? That people are going to judge and criticize. And, it's like social media for like the scholar in you. All right. So thank you for joining the show today. Peace and love. Again, follow me on Instagram, DM me, email me, get at me, follow, like, subscribe. This is The Drop with SA Doc, and I'm out. Peace.